Start recording. All right. Excellent. Any questions or comments? Get something to drink.
Ramin, do you have any plays like when Powell speaks? Because what I've noticed over the last, I don't know, 9-10 months, when nothing in the market on a sort of like day trading basis happens until he speaks. And then the last 4 or 5 times, there's been a huge spike up and a huge spike down. And I didn't know whether there's a way to take advantage of that.
Yes, actually we do. So for the longest time, I would say for last, 15, 20 years, I have a trade strategy called 1, 2, 3. So the way it works, so you have, let's say we have one leg down, you have another leg up, and then you have the third leg down. So you can wait till the leg down. So it's like a zigzag. And then the third leg will continue. So generally that's how it has been. And I think we might have spoken about it in the past, but anyway, that's a short term, which starts at 11 as soon as the rate announcement comes, right? So, but what we have noticed in the past year, it has been less emphasis on the FOMC announcement itself than when the Powell opens his mouth in the conference, and especially when he starts answering questions. So from 11:30 to 12:30, that has become a better strategy. Again, so your initial one would be one direction, then you have a counter direction, and then you will resume the other direction that your first leg was. So you can pick and choose. It doesn't happen 100%, I have to say that, but generally it is become pretty volatile, and you will see more defined trends at that time, usually again by the third leg. Now, another thing we have noticed is generally after the whole move happens, the next day things start reversing. So sometimes when Powell finishes talking, the markets, whatever directions they are in, they will continue with that. And then the following day, usually Thursday overnight, you will see the reversal. So, but yes, Martin, there is, again, we call it 1, 2, 3 strategy.
Thanks, Ramin.
You're welcome. Any other question, Jean-Claude?
I mean, I have a question. Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay. You know the expected move that you always show every week? Do you know if they've ever done like any research on if the price reaches the expected move during the week, what are the chances that it goes back in or stays out? Has there been any study done on that? Or is
Well, I mean, again, statistically, it's supposed to be 68%, right? So that means 68% of the time, like Bollinger Bands, in a one standard deviation, it's supposed to stay inside. And there's a 32% that it will be outside. So that's how it's supposed to be. So when you're going in, you are in a successful 2 out of 3, basically. So, but the question you're asking, so that's given, but that's where all the bets are. Remember, this is coming from the market makers. And how often, if we go outside, can we come back in? And again, what we could do, I look at the 2 standard deviation just for more, it becomes 95%. If you want to play option play, generally that one, it has contained obviously 95%. So that if you want to play butterflies or condors or something like that, then that would work. But yes, so this is, again, the option makers, they're putting their money where the mouth is. They use that. So statistically, that's what's supposed to be. and that's what they are striving at. So anytime it goes outside, then obviously they're losing money. But as far as like a trade, I don't have, like, let's say we just played that and you said, well, I'm gonna just buy it. And as I said, you could use condors. How often will be successful? I don't have exact numbers. All I know is we've had that like in and out strategy. When it hits, generally it hits the boundaries, that's a good place to do strategy of, as I said, in and out, or maybe sell it. So it's almost like a channel as a strategy. So it should be successful about 70% of the time. So yeah, but I don't
Okay.
have this 100% from the options point of view if people have, because again, if there's an announcement, you can see we've been outside for last 3 months, you know how many times we've been outside of the whole thing. So that's been the gamma squeeze. So of course, yeah. So that's been out the window. And again, we are looking at strategy for us. Imagine billions and billions of dollars being lost with these big, again, they're mostly algos who do this. And there's not really people who actually do this. But you know, these option sellers, for instance, you know, they get punished. Their whole idea is to be delta neutral, and this just puts a big you know, wrench in there. So, but yeah, so basically it's it is supposed to be a on the extreme. So I usually play mine. I don't do it beginning of the day. I mean, beginning of the week, I just look at it, and then anytime we get close to those boundaries, I try to use them as a strategy. And
Okay.
yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah.
The other thing I want to mention,
My market, Jean-Claude, right? It's very date, you know, you can see how every day, how much of a movement within the day. VIX has been low, you know, when you look at the past 2 years compared to past, but with, you know, intraday, there's a lot of volatility, and that's what kills us in a sense. So, but if it was a normal, I mean, I'm hoping by next year, all the things that we've learned, once it gets like normalized, then it's a lot easier to do that. So
yeah. The other thing you mentioned at the beginning of the lecture, that all the pundits were saying that there was a recession coming, and you know, I'm in the camp that I think the recession is coming, but now that everybody's on the same side, you know, sometimes when everybody's on the same side, it doesn't happen.
yeah, so that's the concern. The question is, it could be coming. What we have to ask is, has the market priced that in?
Yes, yeah.
So one problem there is right now, and that's why we keep seeing these fluctuations, is the earning growth. And if that's how much of that has been cooked in individual stocks, and if it's not, then this volatility will continue. So that's why the next quarter will be a very interesting quarter, because now we will see the effects of all these the higher rates. But on the other hand, you look at the job market, at least with the numbers, you look at the claims, and you know, unemployment still doesn't show. Doesn't show that weakness that the markets are expecting. The other question we have to ask is actually whether we were in already did go through the recession. You know, it's like, okay, the GDP, you know, for the first 2 quarters, it contracted. Is that what it is with all that? So there's one of the thing is, you know, it's funny that economists, they all predict, but they always find the after facts that we were in recession. It's never like before, you know, we don't know. And then after everything is done, 6 months later, they say, oh, by the way, we were in recession. So, but right now with the jobs, it's not, you know, with the, you look at the earnings and it doesn't feel like it that we're in recession.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's what it kind of concerns me when every single person, you know, they come, they already expect everybody's watching the yield curve. They're watching the spread. They're all talking. When we started talking, it was like, I think a couple of years ago, we were looking at it and it like, you know, a few people will talk about, but now every place, I mean, it's like becoming a party conversation. So when everybody's knows something, things could be different. So,
Mm.
and again, that's what I'm looking at it globally to see when the reversal will happen. And if that's the case, then I will be, again, more looking for opportunities overseas than United States. But
Yeah.
right now, yeah, there is. Oh, the other thing, I'm glad you mentioned that. So we will do next month or so, you know, we will have our annual outlook for the year. I was looking at some of these predictions of all these brokerage firms, and
Mhm.
every one of them is looking at S&P, almost everyone below 4,000. That means
Oh, wow.
they all thinking next year we're going to have a down year. So
Yeah.
then that concern, because just, you know, I was going to do a fourth episode on these soccer videos that I did. You know, remember the first one I did about the predictions. Now, the top four were supposed to be Brazil versus Argentina, and it was Portugal versus England. So that was the prediction. Or was it Portugal versus God, who? But anyway, that was supposed to be. So out of the four semifinalists, we only got Argentina. So they spent
Mhm.
tens of millions to do this. So when I see these predictions, it concerns me when everybody's thinking we're going to have down year. So I just give you a heads up. Generally, the third year of presidency is pretty positive. So that's, if you recall, and I think most of you remember, you know, a year ago, I said the second year of presidency, forget about all the things going on, forget about Russia and Ukraine. The second year of presidency is usually the worst year, and
Yeah.
they are usually negative. So, but the third year is usually positive. So, again, depends how much dependency is on the, you know, as far as with the recession and inflation, how much they, but when everybody's thinking we are going to be down for next year, that makes me think twice. So just being a contrarian,
Yeah.
so just a food for thought. We'll discuss that next month. So yeah, a few weeks. Anyway, all right.
Thank you, Ramin.
You're welcome. Any other question, comments? All right. Well, thank you very much again for spending your afternoon with me. We're going to be soccer deprived because there's only 4 games left. But on the other hand, it's good to be back to real normal life. I'm ready for premiere. So after this, and have a little stability. I was got, first of all, tired of waking up 2 a.m. watching the game. So it's good to have a little sleep. But anyway, all right. Well, have a wonderful weekend ahead. I look forward to seeing everyone this coming week. So have a great weekend.
Thanks, Ramin.
Thank you, Ramin.
Thank you, Ramin.
Talk to you soon.
Bye bye now. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.